Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
You know what nobody's really talking about right now? The Blue Jays just moved Ryan Beraki to Cleveland, and I guarantee most fans scrolled right past that notification without realizing what it actually means. Because this wasn't just roster maintenance or some throwaway transaction. This was the front office sending a clear message about where this bullpen is heading and who gets to be part of that plan moving forward. This is Blue Jays Nation News, where we break down every move that matters for Toronto, and today we're digging into a decision that reveals way more about organizational thinking than the headlines suggest. Hit that like button, drop your reaction in the comments below, subscribe if you're serious about staying updated, and turn on notifications, because the bullpen story is far from finished. Let's be completely honest about what Toronto's relief corps has looked like this season. Some nights, everything works and you feel confident handing leads over to the back end. Other nights, you're watching innings fall apart in real time, with walks piling up, pitches missing their spots, and games slipping away before anyone can stop the bleeding. That inconsistency has been the defining characteristic of this bullpen all year long, and it's created an environment where trust becomes the most valuable currency. Either you have it from the coaching staff, or your roster spot becomes vulnerable real fast. Ryan Beraki found himself on the wrong side of that equation. It wasn't just about one bad outing or a rough stretch. It was about a pattern forming where the margin for error kept shrinking and the confidence level from management kept dropping. Every time his name came up on the depth chart, there was hesitation. That's a problem when you're trying to win games in a competitive division. Beraki went from being a guy the organization believed could handle important outs to someone they couldn't rely on when situations got tight. And once that shift happens, the writing starts appearing on the wall, whether fans see it immediately or not. Then the move came down, clean, and straightforward. Toronto traded Beraki to the Cleveland Guardians for cash considerations. No prospect package, no future value play, no attempt to squeeze additional assets out of the deal. Just a straight transaction designed to clear space and move on. Beraki, who'd been designated for assignment earlier in the week, officially ends his 5-year run with the organization. This was a guy Toronto developed internally, someone they invested real time and resources into. And now he's gone. Traded for cash, which tells you everything about how the front office views his current value. The numbers from this season make the decision pretty easy to understand. Beraki appeared in 11 games and posted a brutal 9.95 ERA across just over 6 innings. Those aren't depth piece numbers. Those are red flag numbers that make roster spots impossible to justify when you're trying to compete. But we need context here, because Beraki wasn't always this version of himself. Go back to 2020 and you'll find a completely different story. That year, he logged a 2.70 ERA over 21 appearances and looked like a legitimate left-handed weapon out of the bullpen. That performance was exactly why Toronto kept believing in him and why they gave him chances to reclaim that form. The problem is that baseball doesn't give you credit for what you did 3 years ago when you can't execute today. What we've seen recently is a pitcher who can't consistently throw strikes in leverage situations, who doesn't have the command to attack hitters effectively, and who doesn't fit anywhere in a bullpen that needs immediate answers. The competitive timeline changed. Organizational patience ran out, and Beraki's role simply evaporated because there wasn't anywhere left for him to contribute. From an optimistic angle, this move makes complete sense. Toronto just opened a roster spot that can immediately go to someone performing better at AAA, or a younger arm who deserves a shot to prove what they can do at the major league level. That's not a negative. That's smart roster management when you're trying to find the right combination to stabilize your bullpen. The cautious view, though, is harder to ignore. The Blue Jays still have major issues in middle relief, and those problems don't disappear just because you cut one struggling arm. If they can't find better internal options quickly, this could cost them games down the stretch in a tight division race. From the front office perspective, the message is brutally simple. Your history with the organization doesn't protect your roster spot. Your development pedigree doesn't guarantee opportunities. Performance determines everything, and when the numbers stop working, so does your tenure. That's the reality of professional baseball, and Beraki just became the latest example of it playing out in real time. Before we keep going, smash that like button if you think this bullpen shakeup was overdue, and comment below whether you believe Toronto waited too long to make this call or if they handled it at exactly the right moment. Now let's flip this and look at Cleveland's side, because their interest makes perfect sense within their own context. The Guardians need bullpen depth, especially left-handed arms, and Beraki represents a low-risk chance to fill that gap. To make room on their roster, they designated Connor Pilkington for assignment, showing they're willing to shuffle pieces around to take a calculated shot on someone who might bounce back in a new environment. For Cleveland, this is about upside gambling at minimal cost. For Toronto, though, this trade isn't about what Beraki might become somewhere else. It's about what he couldn't deliver here when they needed him most. In a season where every single game carries weight in the standings, Toronto chose to cut ties and move forward rather than hope things would magically improve. That's not cruel. That's necessary when you're trying to compete and your bullpen keeps costing you wins. Even if it means admitting that an internal development project didn't pan out the way anyone hoped, sometimes you have to make the tough call and clear the path for different options. What this really represents is a shift in organizational mentality. The Blue Jays are operating with urgency now. Less patience for underperformance, less margin for error, and more focus on who can contribute immediately rather than who might figure things out eventually. That approach will define how they manage the roster moving forward. And it starts with decisions exactly like this one. Hard cuts that prioritize present production over past investment. So here's the question Blue Jays Nation needs to answer. Who should get the next opportunity in this bullpen? Which arm sitting at AAA deserves the call? Or which internal option hasn't gotten a fair shot yet? Get in the comments and tell me who you'd bring up right now. Like this video if you want more honest Blue Jays analysis. Subscribe to the channel so you catch every roster move and transaction as it happens. And turn on those notifications because the bullpen picture is still taking shape, and the next move could happen any day now. Today's quiet decisions are tomorrow's loud results, and this story is absolutely not